Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, General Hospital Diaries. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Today on General Hospital, Dante confronts Lulu about unresolved history. Cody feels misled by Lulu's actions, and Lucky steps in to help Christina stay composed under pressure. In the Quartermain kitchen, Brooklyn and Chase share breakfast and reflect on how peaceful things have been lately. Suddenly, Olivia rushes in with a surprise. Lois walks through the door. Chase warmly hugs Lois, surprised by her early return. Lois explains Olivia wanted it to be a surprise, then turns to Brooklyn for a hug. Brooklyn gives her a quick one, then announces she has a deception call to make and hurries off. Chase offers to help and follows her out. Alone now, Olivia presses Lois to explain what's really going on between her and Brooklyn. Lois admits it's something she and her daughter need to work through on their own. Olivia reminds her she's always available if she needs support. Lois calls Olivia a wonderful friend, saying she doesn't know what she'd do without her. Olivia corrects her. They are not just friends, they're family. She assures Lois that when she's ready to talk, she'll be there to listen, no judgment. Olivia heads out to check on Monica, and Lois softly notes this is the one thing she can't tell Olivia, at least not yet. Meanwhile, Chase finds Brooklyn by the boathouse. She apologizes for running off, saying her mom's unexpected appearance threw her off. Just seeing her mom stirs up a lot. She admits that when she sees Olivia, her dad, and Uncle Sonny, it hits her all over again, how many people would have cherished knowing her child. Chase tells her if she wants to keep things under wraps, she has to do a better job hiding the tension with her mom. He suggests that if she really wants to move forward, she needs to let go of the resentment and try to forgive Lois. Brooklyn admits she still feels betrayed by what Lois did, telling her grandmother about the baby and keeping secrets. But she also realizes she's now doing the same, hiding the truth from Dante and others. Chase gently tells her that while the situations aren't the same, if she decides to come clean, he'll stand by her no matter what. They share a kiss. Later, Lulu stops by the Quartermain stables, where Cody greets her and asks what brings her by. She says she's there to apologize, she played him. She hadn't known about Dante and Brooklyn's history until he confirmed it. Just then, Dante walks in and says, "Is that right? Want to explain that?" Lulu admits she manipulated Cody into sharing his history with Brooklyn. Cody insists he never would have said anything if she hadn't made him believe she already knew. He leaves them to work things out. Dante tells Lulu that what happened with Brooklyn was years ago, just a brief teenage fling when they were camp counselors. Lulu, however, feels deceived. She brings up the time Brooklyn tried to interfere with their relationship as adults and says that past connections should have come up. She questions whether she can fully trust him. Dante doesn't argue. He tells her she's right. He should have been upfront about everything. He explains they hooked up one summer, then moved on. To him, it was ancient history. But Lulu asks, what if it wasn't? Lulu asks Dante, when Brooklyn first came back to Port Charles all those years ago, did he still have any lingering feelings for her? He swears the only woman who had his heart at that time was Lulu. Dante reflects that if he'd just been honest about his past from the beginning, none of this would have escalated the way it did. He apologizes for not being upfront. Lulu, enjoying her instincts being right once again, accepts his apology. Dante tells her that moving forward, they have to be able to trust each other, no more secrets. She nods and Dante heads off to find his mom and help Leo with a school project. Cody returns and immediately questions Lulu, asking what exactly she's trying to pull. Lulu says she can explain, but Cody doesn't buy it. He says she's been telling different stories to different people, and he knows a setup when he sees one. So what's really going on? He asks. Upstairs in the kitchen, Dante is happy to see Lois is back. Brooklyn walks in, telling her mom they need to talk, but stops short when she sees Dante. Alexis shows up cheerful and upbeat, prompting Diane to ask what's gotten into her. Alexis shares that she finally feels like she's gotten her girls back. She tells Diane that Christina was able to move past her anger after Rick's accident, and she and Molly were able to reconnect and support each other. For the first time in a while, Alexis feels a real sense of hope for the future. At the hospital, Christina visits Liz in her room with flowers, expressing how sorry she is that all this happened to her and Rick. Liz thanks her for stopping by. Lucky arrives with some homemade baked goods from Aiden, having sneaked them in. Christina says she should get going, but before she leaves, Lucky mentions they still need to talk about the situation at Charlie's. He promises Liz he'll return. Lucky and Christina meet in the chapel, where he asks why she was really in Liz's room. Was she thinking about coming clean? Christina admits she might have been. She's struggling with the weight of what happened and isn't sure how to carry it. Lucky tells her that's actually a sign of her conscience, proof that she's not cold-hearted. But he warns her not to unload that burden onto Elizabeth. If she's feeling overwhelmed, she should talk to her mom and consider working out a legal solution that doesn't destroy her future. Lucky admits he hates keeping things from Elizabeth, but he genuinely believes Christina is a good person who made a terrible mistake. He's willing to help her stay under the radar, but only if she's ready to do the right thing moving forward. Christina is scared someone might eventually find out, but Lucky reassures her that, as far as the authorities are concerned, it was ruled an accident. The car is gone, processed, and compacted. As far as anyone knows, there's nothing left to uncover. In Rick's room, he is determined to go to the police about Christina, but Ava suggests they consider a bigger approach and use this situation to their advantage. Rick argues that blackmailing Sunny would be unwise, but Ava has a much larger plan in mind. She intends to use this to get Alexis to pay her from the Cassadine estate. Rick is frustrated, feeling that this doesn't address Christina's actions, and that Elizabeth deserves to have her day in court. Ava thought Rick would be more focused on the potential financial gain, and encourages him to consider how Molly would feel if he sent Christina to prison. Rick responds that by covering this up and pressuring Alexis, she's allowing Christina to avoid facing consequences. He calls Ava reckless and warns that it won't be long before she tries to hurt Ava again. Ava insists she can handle Christina, claiming that not sending her to prison is the last bit of mercy she'll show her. However, she's confident she'll be able to secure a consistent stream of money from Alexis. She says she'll keep Rick updated and walks out. In Liz's room, she calls Deanna for assistance in getting into a wheelchair so she can visit someone. Dina helps her visit Rick, who is relieved to see she's okay. Rick admits that if he had lost her, especially since he was driving, he wouldn't have been able to forgive himself. Liz reassures him that she was also worried about him. She asks if he remembers what happened, and he asks what she remembers. Liz recalls only talking about Portia before the car swerved. Rick shares his own limited recollections, with the last thing he remembers being Christina's presence. Marco arrives at Alexis and Diane's office to meet Alexis. Diane receives a message to report to the judge's chambers and leaves Alexis and Marco to get acquainted. Alexis explains the workings of their law firm, and they discuss their approaches to defending those accused of crimes. Alexis is impressed and suggests that a job offer might be on the horizon. After Marco leaves, Ava arrives and tells Alexis they need to talk. Alexis tells her to leave, but Ava says it's about Christina's future. Christina arrived at Elizabeth's room with flowers, and Elizabeth greeted her warmly, unaware that Christina was the reason she was hospitalized with a broken leg. "I'm really sorry this happened. To you and to Rick. It's just awful," Christina said. When Lucky entered, he wasn't as thrilled to see Christina as Elizabeth was. Lucky had brought baked goods from Aiden and offered some to Christina, but Christina decided this was the perfect moment to step away. Lucky followed her, mentioning they needed to talk about work. They ended up in the chapel, where Lucky scolded Christina for visiting Elizabeth if she planned to confess. Maybe, I nearly killed my sister's father. I'm not sure how to live with that, she replied. Lucky was relieved to hear Christina felt guilty. It meant she wasn't completely heartless. Oddly, he seemed more concerned about Christina than Elizabeth. He urged Christina to speak with Alexis and not confess to Liz. I'll help you cover this up, but it only works if you're committed to it and get help, Alexis said. In Rick's room, Eva couldn't stop talking about how Christina had cut the brakes and put Rick and Liz in the hospital. She couldn't wait to use the information to her advantage. How rare for an opportunity like this to fall into our laps, she mused. Rick disagreed. It didn't fall into our laps. My brakes were cut, and I was nearly killed, as was Elizabeth. Rick still wanted to go to the police, but Ava disagreed. What does that really get us? She asked. A dangerous person off the streets, he replied. Ava had bigger plans. What if we use this information to our benefit? She proposed. Rick didn't like that idea. Trying to blackmail Sunny will only lead to trouble, maybe even death, he warned. Ava clarified that she didn't intend to blackmail Sunny. I have something far better in mind. Alexis is the one who's going to pay, she smiled. Rick wasn't too thrilled by the idea, especially since he and Alexis had just agreed to a truce. He also hated the thought of Christina escaping consequences after nearly killing him and Elizabeth. How do you think Molly would feel if you sent her only remaining sister to prison? Ava asked. Rick certainly didn't want to hurt Molly. He appreciated that she wasn't the focus of Alexis' parenting, as she was far more stable than Christina. Ava believed that if Sunny and Alexis hadn't sheltered Christina so much, she wouldn't have ended up such a mess. Ava had already decided to show Christina some leniency by collaborating with Alexis on several matters. Like a steady IV drip, she remarked with a grin. After their brief exchange, Ava headed off to talk to Alexis, leaving Rick alone to receive a visit from Elizabeth. As they discussed the accident, Rick became visibly emotional. The fact that I was driving, if anything had happened, if I had lost you, I would have never forgiven myself, he admitted. Liz asked Rick if he recalled the events from the night of the crash. He hesitated, then lied, saying that all he could remember was losing control of the car. Must have been black ice or something, Rick added. Meanwhile, over breakfast in the tea kitchen, Chase observed that things seemed unusually calm for once. Brooklyn suggested it was because the Crip situation had been resolved. Chase agreed, also mentioning that Lois's absence might have had an impact. I love her, but we definitely needed some space, Brooklyn remarked about her mother. Just then, Olivia walked in to deliver a surprise announcement. Lois was back. The calm had evaporated. Lois seemed uneasy as Brooklyn gave her a small, reserved smile. Lois explained that she would have given them a heads-up about her return, but Olivia wanted it to be a surprise. Brooklyn reluctantly embraced her mother. Olivia noticed the tension between them. Once Brooklyn and Chase left the room, Olivia had some questions. I knew you two had a falling out, but now it seems like you can't even be in the same room. What's going on? She asked. Lois explained that she had made decisions for Brooklyn many years ago, but she couldn't get into the specifics, as it was her daughter's private matter. Outside the boathouse, Chase found Brooklyn, who seemed deep in thought. She felt like she'd been cornered, but Chase reassured her that Lois had simply missed her and wanted to reconnect. Brooklyn expressed that she couldn't stop thinking about how many family members would have loved her son. Chase promised that he would take her secret to the grave. But if you want to keep it a secret, you'll need to do a much better job of hiding it, he said. Chase understood that Brooklyn was still upset with her mother, but he encouraged her to try to move past the pain. I'm not trying to guilt you, but I'd give anything for one more day with my dad. The last thing I'd want to do is spend it fighting, he said. If you truly want to keep this secret, you'll need to find a way to forgive her. And I shared everything. And this feels like the ultimate betrayal, Brooklyn confessed, explaining why it was so difficult to forgive. She was relieved that she could finally open up to Chase. Later, Lulu dropped by the Quartermain stables to apologize to Cody. She admitted that she had used him to gather information about Brooklyn's baby. I didn't know they had a past until you confirmed it for me, Lulu explained, referring to Brooklyn and Dant. Unfortunately, Dant overheard and asked, "Is that so?" Dante turned his frustration toward Cody. "Why are you digging into the past? Now you're telling Lulu?" he accused. Lulu quickly took responsibility. "This isn't Cody's fault. I tricked him into telling me," she clarified. Lulu admitted that she'd suspected Dante hadn't been entirely truthful about his history with Brooklyn, so her curiosity got the better of her. She went to Cody for answers, and it worked. Lulu apologized again to Cody, but he wasn't ready to forgive her. "You two figure out whatever this is between you. I've got to feed the horses," he said, walking off. Once alone, Dante asked Lulu why she was bringing up old issues. "Why have you been lying to me about Brooklyn all these years?" Lulu questioned. Dante explained that he and Brooklyn were just teenagers at the time, and what they shared didn't mean anything. Lulu reminded him that Brooklyn was an adult when she tried to come between them. Dan shrugged it off, insisting it didn't matter, and asked why Lulu was so fixated on Brooklyn. Lulu confessed that she felt manipulated. Every time she'd asked Dant if anything had happened between him and Brooklyn, he'd acted as if it was an absurd idea, but now she knew it wasn't. "It makes me wonder if you're someone I can trust," Lulu admitted. Dante, clearly frustrated, went on to explain their summer at camp when they were teens. "It was over before it even began. We both moved on with our lives, with other people. That summer didn't mean anything," he said. "But what if it did?" Lulu countered. Dante thought Lulu's concerns about Brooklyn were linked to the other challenges in Lulu's life. "When Brooklyn came to Port Charles, did you still have feelings for her?" Lulu asked. Dante responded, "When Brooklyn came to Port Charles, the only woman who had my heart was you." Finally, Dante apologized for not being honest with Lulu sooner. The two made amends, and the atmosphere lightened as they joked with each other. "No more secrets between us, okay?" Dante said, but just before leaving, Cody posed a sharp question. "Lulu, what are you really up to?" Cody was clearly upset and wasn't interested in hearing Lulu's explanations. "You're telling different stories to different people, and I know a con when I see one. So last chance, what's really going on with you?" he pressed. When Alexis walked into work in a noticeably good mood, Diane quickly sensed something was off. "You're, dare I say, perky, and I usually arrive after you," Diane remarked. Alexis explained she'd just come from a workout at the gym, leaving Diane utterly baffled. "Is this what you look like in a good mood? Did Rick die?" she joked. Alexis then shared the real reason for her happiness. "I got my girls back," she said with a grin. She described the moment in the hospital chapel, where Christina finally let go of the animosity that had been between them since her loss. Christina was able to set aside all that pain for the first time. Alexis felt that Christina had realized she couldn't truly heal without her sister. "I think they're each other's missing piece," she said, hopeful for the future. Soon after, Marco arrived for his second interview. Diane had to step away, so Alexis conducted the interview herself. Like Diane, Alexis noticed that Marco had focused more on corporate law than criminal law in recent years. She asked how Marco would feel about working with clients who concealed their illegal activities, referring to Sunny and Jason. Impressed with Marco's response, Alexis assured him he could expect a job offer soon. After he left, Ava walked in, ready to spoil Alexis' good mood. "Hello, Alexis. We need to have a little chat." You can always make time to discuss Christina's future, can't you? Ava asked, her tone making it clear this would not be a pleasant conversation. At the next general hospital, Curtis delivers difficult news to Laura. Lois believes Brooklyn is ready to confess. Lulu asks Cody, should I tell him how I feel? Ava tells Alexis, Christina tried to kill me, and I have proof. Christina makes a shocking confession to Sunny. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.